A home inspection is a great tool for a buyer to have when they are considering purchasing a property. In this video, I will break down what a home inspection is, at what point in the process you would obtain one, the limitations of home inspections, and the costs. So let's start at the top. What is a home inspection? Well, it's when a qualified inspector visits the property and inspects the systems and physical structure of the home. They will identify what kind of condition the home is in and inform you of any potential issues or any minor or major repairs that are needed. All of this information will be reduced to a comprehensive report for you, and the report will include the home inspector's findings all organized into easy to understand sections with photos, and there will often be a suggested cost or range for anything major that you need to budget for, as well as a suggested timeline for when the repair should be done. Next, let's talk about at what point in the process would a buyer obtain a home inspection. The answer to this can vary, so let's look at a couple scenarios. Scenario number one, you are a home buyer interested in a house that is accepting offers at any time, and you decide to tell your realtor that you are ready to submit an offer. When you are buying a house, I 100% recommend conducting a home inspection, so in your offer, you will include a condition to do just that. The condition can be any length of time that the buyer and seller agree to, and personally, I typically write in a 5 business day condition. So what that means is that if your offer is accepted, the property will be marked as conditionally sold, and then you will have the agreed upon length of time, i.e. 5 days, to complete your home inspection and share your decision with the seller. Now, before we move on to another scenario, let's briefly review your decision as it will go in one of 3 ways. Number one, your first option is to firm up on the condition, which basically means, yep, we review the report and we are fine with it, and we'd like to proceed with the deal. Option number 2 would be to renegotiate the terms of your offer if you found something unexpected in the report that you were displeased with and you'd still like to continue with the deal, but only if some terms are amended. That might mean a change in the price you're offering, or it could mean that you want the seller to agree to repair or replace something prior to closing. And your final option, if you were super displeased with what you learned from the inspection, would be to tell the seller that you're not firming up on the condition and are thereby walking away from the deal. Okay, now let's look at another scenario. Scenario number 2, you are a homebuyer interested in a house that has a specified offer date, and you know that this means there will likely be multiple offers on this home. Given that situation, you don't want to have any conditions in your offer because you want your offer to be as strong as possible and seriously considered by the seller. So what do? Because remember, home inspections are recommended, and failing to obtain one could put you in a position where you have bought a property that ends up having a lot of unexpected problems. Sometimes when properties are listed with offer dates, the seller will already have conducted a pre-list home inspection and will provide the report to all interested buyers. If this is the case for the home that you're interested in, that's great, and then you can review that report and determine if you're comfortable with it. In the event that you don't feel like the report is enough to satisfy you and you'd like to conduct your home inspection, or perhaps the seller didn't complete a pre-list home inspection, you are left with 2 options. Your first option is to include a home inspection condition with your offer, knowing that this might decrease the strength of it simply because you don't feel comfortable proceeding without it. Or your second option would be to have your realtor find out if you would be permitted to conduct a home inspection on the property prior to the offer date. If the seller says yes, you're going to need to invest this time and money for a home inspection before you know if you will be the successful purchaser of the property. However, the cost may be worth it if you really love the home, and if the report eases your concerns, you'll be able to submit an offer without a condition, thereby strengthening your position. So now that you know what a home inspection is and at what point in the process you'll be able to conduct one, let's talk about some of the limitations to home inspections and what isn't covered in them. The biggest limitation is that home inspections can only inspect what is readily accessible. This means that they cannot open up walls, remove flooring, or even move furniture around. An example of how this becomes a limitation is that there could be water seeping in through the foundation walls, something that's not all that uncommon, and if the basement is finished, there might be no visible signs of this. With that said, most inspectors will bring a thermal imaging device, which will help determine if there's any moisture behind the walls. Another limitation is that the inspector won't be able to tell you the adequacy or effectiveness of specific systems. They can only share what they have observed while they are there for an hour or two when they are doing their inspection. Furthermore, inspectors often won't be able to tell you the cause of specific issues. They won't know the operating costs of specific systems or the remaining life expectancy of systems and components. Now, they might provide you with educated opinions on all of the above, but they are just that, opinions, so take them with a grain of salt. I also want to share some of the items that are not included in a typical inspection, and if you're interested in them, would require a separate service. Those include potential presence of mold and pests, inspecting inside a fireplace or chimney, inspecting the sewer line. If the home has a septic system, instead of being connected to the city sewers, they don't inspect that. They don't inspect building code violations. If the home has a pool, that is typically not included in standard home inspections. And they won't comment on paint or other finishes in home decor. So now that you have all of this information on home inspections, you're probably wondering what they cost. Well, of course, that will vary depending on multiple factors such as the type of property, size of property, and who you hire, but I would say a safe budget for this would be in the $300 to $1,000 range. I hope you found this information useful and now have a much better understanding of home inspections.